Just 4 more rounds to go now of the 2016 FF1M season, all 4 of which flyaways. We head to the Southeast Asian region first for the Sepang International Circuit located near Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, and I'm being joined for the first time since Spa by Tornado's Tobias Wolff.
Hello there.
And since Spa, it's been a bit mixed because you had Perez win at Monza and then a tricky race at Portimao, which, to be fair, Portugal's never been kind to you in history of Tornado.
Yes, it has been a bit of a roller coaster since I last was in the commentary box. And first of all, thank you for having me back here. It is a pleasure to be here once again. It's been a very mixed bag, like you said, full of ups and downs. And before you bring it up, yes, I have made a driver change for the rest of the season.
Well, there have been 2 driver changes actually, the first of which occurring at Shake and Bake, where Isuki Yoshida has been replaced by the first American to race in Scott Speed, and his name is Nolan Bryant. And at Tornado, as you say, Väinö Kimmonen is racing early in the place of Thomas Gonzalez, who's been dropped. Yes,
it was not a decision that was taken lightly, and I do wish Thomas all the best, especially after all that he's done for the team. However, to cut to the point, I feel like I had to make a change because of recent results, and here's the starting grid now, and Kevin Magnussen is on pole, Lewis Hamilton alongside. Not really ideal for my team, to be honest.
But there is the new boy.
Yes, that's a great start for Väinö Kimmonen in his first qualifying session.
Hulkenberg 4th on the grid.
Whoa, Sam Bird in 5th?
Yes, Sam Bird 5th, an absolute standout performance, and Rosberg being out-qualified.
Now that is a surprise, seeing Sam Bird ahead of Rosberg and in the top 5. Surely he must be on a qualifying setup. I mean, we know that Pedersen do like to use that.
And as for the rest of the top 10, Grosjean 6th, Rosberg 7th, Ricciardo 8th, and Sainz, good qualifying effort from him, out-qualifying Bottas in 9th ahead of Sebastian Vettel in 10th. Those two will be teammates next season at Pedersen. And Perez there was in 11th ahead of Alonso, then Cooper Lee 13th ahead of Tony Coast, and the Assman in 15th ahead of Kimi Räikkönen 16th. All Finn row 8, but the highest Finn is up in 3rd, as mentioned before. Jean-Eric Verne 17th ahead of Felipe Massa in 18th, the retiring Felipe Massa, and there'll be a little article about him. Nolan Bryant in 19th ahead of James Clark 20th, and Paul Willows on the back, Max Verstappen 21st and Stoffel Van Dorn 22nd.
Yes, well, I want to talk more about the move that I made, but I know that the race is going to start any second now. All I'll say is, please don't go too hard on me about Gonzalez.
Oh, I've got it planned.
I bet you have.
And we'll get onto that in a bit moment, but 5 lights go out as Kevin Magnussen gets away not too great.
Good start for Hamilton. That's a good start for Hamilton, although he's on the outside. Hulkenberg's had a good start as well. He's going around the outside of Kimmonen into 3rd, so Hamilton's going to get on the inside of turn 2, but I think Magnussen's just going to hold it. And actually, Hamilton didn't have the best exit out of turn 2, because it looks like Hulkenberg's on his chuff now, and yes, he is. He's going to pull to the inside, going to make a move. No contact there. It's as you were.
Not quite.
Anyway.
Not quite making that one stick, but Hulkenberg getting the jump on Väinö Kimmonen at the start, and Kevin Magnussen already pulling out quite a lead over Lewis Hamilton, and Magnussen is running some setup boosts, and it might have been why he took pole position. He was 3/10 ahead of Hamilton, but Magnussen was only Kimmonen making contact with the back of Hulkenberg into turn 9, and
and then having to defend also from his future teammate for next season, so that was a very hairy moment there for Kimmonen, and Ricciardo has taken advantage of Grosjean anyway.
Then a great start for Ricciardo from 8th on the grid, moving up to 5th ahead of Bird, Rosberg, Grosjean as well, taking advantage of that at turn number 9. And look at the Andrew tyres. They're not hard, they are medium that they are running.
Whoa! Something I never thought I'd see. Oh wait, yeah, we did see it in the last race, to be fair, but
didn't work out too well.
Feels like they're putting them on a little too late because of the tyre changes next season, and we're looking at Bird, is it, going past Grosjean for 6, sort of recovering from his slow start, and now he's going for Ricciardo in 5th now.
Oh,
and there's going to be not quite.
Nearly contact.
I don't know how there wasn't contact there, but okay. And Kimmonen's just set fastest lap. That's interesting. Bird trying again here into turn 1, lap 3, and I think he should make that stick. Some serious pace in that Pedersen for Sam Bird. I mean, wow.
Yeah, where's this come from?
He must have gone all out on Bird's car or something, and there's going to be close here with Ricciardo, and there was a little bit of contact there, and Grosjean sort of argy-bargies his way past Ricciardo, who seems to be going backwards at the moment, and Vettel next on Ricciardo's hit list in terms of getting hit himself.
And Vettel very light on fuel. There's a mixture of 2 or 3 stops expected for this race, and briefly Magnussen, but then Kimmonen setting the fastest lap of the race as Kimmonen chases Hülkenberg for 3rd.
That's something I'm massively wary of about, how much fuel has each driver got on board. I mean, Kimmonen's obviously showing pace now, but it might just be because he's on a 3 stop and the others in front of him are on a 2 stop.
Could be, as Sainz gets ahead of Nico Rosberg for 9th place, and is this a battle for 3rd between Kimmonen and Hülkenberg into turn number 4? And, it's contact, and both are off!
Contact, that's not worked out. And we've just skipped away here. It looks like Kimmonen is still in 3rd, but Hülkenberg is down in 7th, because he's now battling with Ricciardo, so they must have rejoined the circuit, although certainly not ideal there for either driver. More so for Hülkenberg, who's now recovering.
Now back in 6th place, and a word on Nico Hülkenberg, as we'll just keep an eye out on Ricciardo's fight back on the German going down the main straight. No switch to the inside, but Hülkenberg very, very unlucky to lose a win at Portimao after a brilliant drive.
Yeah.
And on an unfavourable 3-stop strategy as well. Vettel up the inside of Ricciardo for 7th, and a further one on Hülkenberg. He had no setup boost at all, so he was just on it throughout the whole Portimao race.
Mm.
Whoa, dearie me. That's Sainz very late on the brakes getting past Rosberg.
That is what you call a finely executed dive bomb. And what's this?
Here's Perez.
I was confused there. Yeah, I think we're going to see here Perez getting past Sainz, but then Sainz coming back at him on the start-finish straight.
There's a battle for 9th, and Perez holding it. But this is a battle for the lead.
And it's already lap 9.
And now I wonder how much fuel these two have got, because Hamilton doesn't have much. If we get a shot of Magnussen, we could see how much fuel he has.
I'm pretty sure that Hamilton's on a 3 stop. I mean, he's not got much fuel left, or unless he's doing a longer 2nd or 3rd stint. If Magnussen's on a 2-stopper, then it's looking very good for you, even if Hamilton does get past now, which it looks like he is going to, into the final hairpin, and that's unless Magnussen uses the slipstream, which I think he could do.
He could do.
Yep, he's more than close enough to make a counter-attack.
Magnussen's fuel load. It's not that much more, actually.
A little bit more. Oh no! They've made contact! They've both spun! They have both gone into the gravel, and as a result of that, Väinö Kimmonen is going to inherit the lead.
Well, there you go. And
scenes here, but they both recovered. They both recovered into the top 3. So we're already seeing quite a bit of argy-bargy from some of the drivers. Obviously with Kimmonen and Hülkenberg earlier on, and now the battle for the lead. And Magnussen stays out ahead, although he and Hamilton do lose out to Kinnunen. And we're seeing a Gajira here going to spin with a Meister, and they're both going to glue themselves together in the gravel trap. And Hamilton is due in the pits.
End of lap 12, so definitely a 3-stop strategy. But yeah, seeing a bit of contact in this race so far. There was a little bit of contact as well in some of the FF2M races that have happened as well.
And
embarrassingly.
Something, sorry to interrupt, but something I really do need to say is Checo has suddenly dropped to 20th, and we have not seen the reason why.
Is that a pit stop?
I hope it was a pit stop, because if it wasn't, then I think his chance of points is all but gone, and in doing so, his championship, really, if that's the case.
Well, Hamilton can't win the championship in this race. The max he can do is a 34-point lead over at the end, and with 36 on offer for the final race. So, yeah.
He's rejoined in 12th, so he's going to be in some traffic, and Kinnunen's due in the pits this lap. Has a 4.2, but on the top left it said 4.8 for a moment there, so he's got some pace as Kinnunen, and 5.1 now, although I'm not sure if Magnussen is due in this lap or the next lap, but I know it's not too far away. I think the main contenders for this race are all doing 3 stops, so we're going to get a good fair fight, if you like. I think it's always better when you've got the guys fighting for the win who are on the same or similar strategy anyway.
And just on the Tornado, so you wanted to mention something about Gonzalez, because
yes,
there was a story that Gonzalez could still have driven essentially a driver swap with Exolite, but Exolite, well, I can actually say
no, he's being held. He's being held by someone. Who is that getting in the way? That's Kim. That's costly. That's cost him at least 3 or 4 seconds, and he's going to be on a heavier car now when he comes out, probably in traffic.
But here comes Hamilton,
and Hamilton's right there. He might do the undercut here. Oh no!
Hamilton gets the jump.
That's frustrating. That not going to lie, being compromised there. But you know what? It felt like an eternity for when Vettel was coming down the pits, and Perez has set fastest lap, so I'm wondering if maybe he made a early pit stop we didn't see. I don't know.
Yeah, he must have done, I think.
But Hamilton's back out in front, and he's on at least one lap newer tyres, and I would imagine Magnussen is going to probably, with the lighter car, leapfrog the pair of them, especially with this traffic. Yes, I wanted to talk about Gonzalez. I never get round to it because something comes up. Previous races, recent races, he just went off the boil, and it pains me to say, but I wanted him to go for the championship. There's a lot of pit crew out here. I wanted him to go for the championship. However, based on recent form, not just overall, but like relative to his teammate, and Magnussen got a tiny bit held up, but nowhere near as badly as Kinnunen. Where is he going to rejoin? I think he says 4th, 6th. Yeah, he's ahead, I think. Oh, no, he's not. No, he's behind.
Behind Kinnunen.
I felt like with the way things were going, a change needed to be made, and with Kinnunen wrapping up his FF2M, hopefully he gets past his GRM without trouble, although this has been a troublesome place to get past. Ooh.
And it's still proving troublesome. Nearly contact between those two side by side through turns 5 and 6. That's brave.
Oh, this is frustrating.
And,
God, this is frustrating. And considering that Kinnunen was ahead of these two before the pit stops, and then there's this GRM ahead that's causing problems. Oh, he's moved over in the braking. It just gets past. Oh, I had to make that move there because Magnussen was crawling all over the back of him. But I felt like with the way things were going, and Mitchell's rapid form, and also more to the point, Kinnunen has been faster than both the main race drivers in pretty much every practice or testing session. And it was something I just couldn't ignore. I feel like I needed to, if I wanted my team to win this championship, I need to use all the aces I have, even if it is brutal for Gonzalez, and that's not worked out for Bottas. He's collided with the Willows. Magnussen is now getting past the other GRM of Sainz.
Into the first corner, bit of understeer through turn 1, but overtake for Magnussen. Now can he set off after Kymmenen and Hamilton? As we're just seeing Hülkenberg coming into the pits as well, as Sergio Perez looking to make a move on Gajera, but there's contact and there goes Perez round.
I think with that is championship. I think that's it now. Hamilton's in the net.
Hamilton!
Oh no, he isn't! I've jinxed it! Hamilton's pulled off! Oh, Checo, what are you doing? You need to make the most of this. Jesus.
Yeah, and Hamilton, a rare mechanical failure for Mitchell. What seems to be the issue as Magnussen sets the fastest lap of the race in his pursuit of Kymmenen. And rare. Very, very rare.
Drama.
Only the second for Mitchell this season. Goodness me. Now that's going to flip it. If Magnussen can win, then that really does throw the championship wide open. And it's a gearbox problem. Well, there you go.
That is a rare sight we have seen. But, you know what? With the way things with that...
And Da Costa...
as Da Costa makes a mess of things. Who's to say maybe the Tornado's also been very reliable this season, and that could pack up at any moment. And it does look at this stage, I'm afraid to say, that Magnussen is the faster driver. Again, just ruining that pit stop. It's not Seb's fault. It's just, I think if anything, it was the pit crew being hesitant to let Kymmenen out in good time, because to me it looked like he had to wait an eternity.
Does seem that way. Can I mention Sam Bird for a moment, because he's been leading the race and looks like he is too stopping and doing a great job up the front, 14 seconds out and on for some serious points, I reckon.
That's putting it mildly at the current rate. I mean, he hasn't stopped yet. That's the thing. He could be on a two-stopper, and if he is, he might be a genuine contender for the race win.
It could well be, yeah. And
some things I never thought I would say.
Sam Bird, whose FF1M history before taking Latifi's place involved 2 seasons with Horizon, and getting a few points here and there, didn't do too badly.
Yes, and with Magnussen and Kymmenen jostling for position, I think the longer that these two jostle for position, the better, of course, it is for Bird, because he's definitely surely on a two-stopper. I would have thought unless he's doing a long first stint or something, but my gut tells me he's doing a two-stop. I think Pedersen have gone for something crazy this race on the setup front, the tyre front. We know he's on soft tyres as Magnussen gets past Kymmenen, but Kymmenen will try and fight back, although I don't think around the outside's going to work, and I think he's just going to have to tuck in behind and go again later on, I think. And the other FGR is, I'm not sure, is Hülkenberg, did he just get past Alonso, or is Alonso trying to get past? That makes sense.
Hülkenberg did make a move on Alonso, because we saw a shot previously of Grosjean and Alonso getting quite close together, and Hülkenberg having stopped and Alonso having not stopped, according to the timing graphic. That's where Hülkenberg's managed to get past the tyre advantage, as James Clark comes into the pits.
Kymmenen sticking with Magnussen here.
And they were both actually over 2 seconds quicker than Bird on that previous lap, despite the squabbling. So
yeah,
it's not like they're dropping back, as we're going to see. This is the replay of how Hülkenberg got past Alonso.
In a way, I think if I say this, but if Sam Bird's going to win this race, it's going to be, I reckon, because of Magnussen and Kymmenen jostling for too long. They've both had incidents. Obviously, Magnussen collided with Hamilton earlier on, and Kymmenen had a collision with Hülkenberg, as well as the bad pit stop after that. So they've both lost time. There's going to be contact? Not quite. I don't know how that didn't happen.
Yeah. Yes.
But Hülkenberg gets past Alonso.
And surely on those newer tyres he can pull away a bit and catch up to Romain Grosjean's 4th place. And Grosjean stopped as well.
Something I have. Oh, he's gone off. He's gone off. And I was just going to say something that would have related to that, and that is, for some reason, I saw Hulkenberg's name not just behind Alonso but Vettel as well. As Sam Bird, the race leader, pits. Surely he's two-stopping. Yeah, he's two-stopping for sure.
Yeah, definitely two-stopping. Yeah, I spotted that Hulkenberg just at the same time as you did, while he was behind Alonso and Vettel, and that was why a little mistake going into turn 4 on those softer tyres. Again, the mistake potential could well have added up to that, as lap 20 now, as Bird rejoins ahead of Alonso. So that's, yeah, he's on for a podium, possibly, as Hulkenberg now recovering once again.
Yeah, Sam Bird, I think I'd actually at this point be more surprised if he doesn't finish on the podium at least.
Yeah, and that would be his first ever FF1M podium as well.
With the big pace advantage that both Magnussen and Kimmelman were showing before Bird pitted, it will be tough for Bird to fend that off at some point. I think there's an X-Leak going wide there, I think that might just be a pit stop actually.
That was Alonso.
As Hulkenberg is recovering from what has been a scrappy race for him so far.
Bit scrappy, and he's had a scrappy season with a lot of unlucky results, losing a win at Portimao and losing a podium places at Monaco and Mugello as well. So he's not had the luckiest season, but at least he's got a drive for next season with Gajera.
Yes, it would have been sad if he was left without a drive. Thoroughly deserves to stay on the grid. I mean, he's been very unlucky this season. Sure, Magnussen has had the edge in pace for most of it, but as he has a look, that's not an overtaking spot, and he's just cost himself more time there. That wasn't the smartest move. Definitely not.
But Perez
on board with Perez recovering from what has been an even scruffier race for him. Not 1 point as he got into the top 8. And he really needs to make the most of this, because the sun is shining right now to make the hay with Hamilton out of the race. And although he's got Hamilton's teammate to deal with, and I think that Mitchell is going to get back past.
Lee up the inside of Perez going into the first corner, but the disadvantage Mitchell have is that they've only got one car in the race. You've still got two cars, Kimmelman and Perez, so yeah, not looking great for Mitchell's Constructors' Championship in this race.
Yeah, Cooper Lee has been very anonymous this weekend. I didn't quite catch where he started on the grid, but as Hulkenberg's going to come at Vettel here, there's going to be contact for sure, and he punts Vettel off, Vettel spins, and Hulkenberg rejoins. That was a bit rude, that I have to say.
A bit rude, and that benefits Rosberg because he's now moved up past both of them and ahead of Hulkenberg and poor Vettel and Ricciardo and Massa and a few others that Vettel is dropping behind, as Perez is due into the pits at the end of this lap. This is a very, very early second stop that he's going to be making.
It is a very early second stop indeed. It's like, you almost want to wonder, is he stopping or something? But I know that's not possible in Grand Prix 4. At least not scheduled anyway. So I'm wondering if he either had a spin early on which we didn't see, like another one, or he had to make an early unscheduled pit stop. But I would have thought if he did, he would have had more fuel in, and that's a longer stint there, 21 laps of fuel.
Yeah, the early mechanical issue makes sense, actually. Although Magnussen is coming to pits at the end of this lap, so maybe it's just the pit window.
He's built himself a 4.1 second, 4.8 actually on the top left there. That's the most up-to-date figure. Yes, into the pits comes Magnussen from the lead. Is Kimmelman going to follow him in? I wonder, as we've cut to Bottas here, who looks like he's going to go off.
Right,
spin.
Back onto the circuit.
Not quite on the racing line, but yeah. Bad race for Bottas, it has to be said. Not the first time he's been pointing the wrong way this race, and Kimmelman has gone past, so he obviously didn't follow him through, because I just thought they had similar amounts of fuel on board. How much traffic is Magnussen going to be in, if any? Doesn't look like it any at all, so that's good news for him, it has to be said. Ahead of his teammate.
That's worked out quite well for Magnussen, who at this moment is on 76 championship points, 24 behind Lewis Hamilton. Now, if he can win and halve that down to 12, because of course you get 12 points for a win, I think Hulkenberg's coming in at the end of the following lap, as we have a look at Felipe Massa versus Nolan Bryant going into turn 4, and there's contact between the two, and both go off into the gravel.
That corner is bad news whenever you see two cars going in side by side this race.
Yeah, it's lethal, is that? As out of the pits in 7.4 seconds comes Hulkenberg. So...
Oh, there's something wrong. The wheel's not fitted right. The top front left.
Oh dear.
I tell you what, in all my time of playing Grand Prix 4, I've never seen a car retire so quickly after leaving the pit lane. I've seen cars retire on the out lap, but I haven't seen them retire instantly as soon as they exit the pits.
Now, it actually showed up a suspension failure on the steering wheel, so maybe a drive shaft has sheared off and done damage to the suspension. So, yeah, bit aggressive on the pit exit then.
Drive shaft for the front wheel?
It looked like the rear suspension was causing the front wheel to go a bit high.
No, it wasn't. It was definitely a front wheel. It was the front left, I think.
The front left could have been affected, but yeah.
The front, as we're arguing here, the front left it looked upright. It looked like it was up in the air.
Yeah, it looked a bit high to me.
I mean, really, that should have, for realism, that should have been a loose wheel, but it was a suspension. Kymmenen made a pit stop about, I think, was it 2 laps after Magnussen made his stop?
Roughly 2 laps, yep, and is rejoined behind the Dane. And once again, Sam Bird taking the lead, but I think on the newer tyres, Magnussen should be catching up to him fairly quickly. And who else have we got?
And Kymmenen as well.
And who else have we got in the top 8?
We're only just halfway now.
Just halfway. Yeah, it's been a decent drive from Grosjean, actually, getting up to 4th and having made his second pit stop already. Clark's got an issue.
Retirement for Clark. Not a great race at all for him. He's not really having the best time of it, is Clark, in his first few races of FF1M before he has his first full-time season next year with AJ.
Yep, the returning AJ, and Clark will be partnered by Robert Kubica. And what have we got? Rosberg and Alonso into turn number 9, and Rosberg is showing that he's still got some mojo left and takes that position away from Alonso.
Yeah, cleanly done, but he has been massively overshadowed by his teammate this weekend.
In this race, yeah, and Magnussen not exactly catching up to Bird at this pace, and
he gained about 0.6 that lap, but Kymmenen may have had another bad stop because he's actually closer to Grosjean now than he is, and we're on board with Magnussen here. What for, I wonder? I don't know. This might be ominous. He's going to go in deep, and he's going to spin into the gravel. Is he going to make a quick recovery? No, he doesn't.
Oh, dearie me.
How long is he going to be in there for?
4th place.
Oh dear, indeed. So both Kymmenen and Grosjean go through, and I tell you what, and that's Bottas again. How many times has he been facing the wrong way this race?
Shunting into Nolan Bryant this time.
It's like real life in Turkey, wasn't it, in 2020?
As Sainz and Alonso having a little battle for 6th place, and side by side through turn 1, and Sainz just hanging on at the moment, but I think Alonso's quicker at this stage. As through,
I have to say, I can't rule out Grosjean for the win here. He's been very quiet this race, but he's been in there, and although he is on a free stop like Kymmenen and Magnussen, but he's kept it clean, and that's what's counted for him getting into that position we see him in now.
Absolutely, as Alonso into 4, making contact with Sainz. Spaniard versus Spaniard, and Alonso is going to drop quite a way down the order. You
know what? That corner, they may as well just have a permanent yellow flag there, because every time an overtake seems to happen there, or attempted one anyway, it involves either both cars going in the gravel or at least one of them facing the wrong way. Yeah, and as it's Checo is going to get back. He's going to get re-overtaken by Jev. I just know it because my experience of Grand Prix 4, when they overtake on the final hairpin, that's what usually happens if they don't have...
Oh, but they're hanging
they
on.
Don't have the best exit.
But Perez is still side by side.
They're gonna collide next. No, he isn't. Okay, maybe Perez backing off there was the smart thing to do.
Oh, yellow flag! Somebody's off. Who is that? It's Alonso.
Alonso again. Is it again, or was that just taking a long time to?
Yeah. So Bottas.
Bottas is retired. His GRM has taken enough of a beating, I think, this race from that picture there. I've got to say also that Kimmelin is not catching Bird that much, it has to be said.
Yeah, it's only 8.1.
And we're now back with Perez here, who's still struggling to get himself into the points. There's a train here behind Sainz for 7th.
And it consists of Sainz, Verne, Perez and Cooper Lee, and no Alonso, so it's just a 4-car train. And just a quick one on Bottas, yeah. Had a lot of incidents, and the ass man having a bit of a spanking in this race.
So the gap was 8.1, I believe. Oh no, contact there, is he? Not going to spin, but it's been a very unspecial race for Checo, this. Although Kimmelin did take up to a second on that lap, so that was a bit better from Kimmelin.
Yeah, I think Bird's tyres are getting a bit old now, because Grosjean and Magnussen are catching up to Bird, as well as Kimmelin. And let's see what happens as we go down here.
The top 4 are all converging on one another, which is very interesting, and I bet Jeb's going to move over. Yep, he does. But at least this time Checo is following on the main straight, which, assuming he pulls the right way alongside and he has enough power to get past, and under braking, should be able to make this move stick.
And to turn 1 and the side by side, but Perez with the inside line and the high line.
He's got it now.
He's got him. So points on the horizon for Perez.
It just goes to show that most of the time you're actually better off not overtaking into that final hairpin, unless of course it's the final lap. And Lee's going to try and get past here. No contact that time. And Perez has got past Sainz, which we hadn't seen. I'm just looking at the leaderboard down there. 5.8 the gap, and it looks like the Gajira has pitted.
So Verne making a pit stop.
Gap's now 5.8, but yeah, both Grosjean and Magnussen are going quicker.
And Bird's due in the pits at the end of this lap, so his 2-stop strategy coming into play, and that will put Kimmelin back into the lead.
Even if Bird, even if he doesn't get on the podium, I think it's amazing. And even if the fact he's on a 2-stop, I think it's amazing, this performance from him, that he's how he's been in the lead for so long, and yet even now with 19 laps to go, he hasn't been overtaken, and he hasn't come close to, because Kimmelin was still only 4 seconds behind as he pitted.
But into the pits comes Sam Bird from the race lead, and he'll need a good stop if he's going to challenge for the race win, which is certainly possible, I have to say. And certainly after trying to work out when the last time a substitute driver won a race, that'd be one to think about, actually.
Well, there's 2 bites of the cherry for a substitute driver to win this race, isn't there? Both Bird and Kimmelin.
Absolutely, yes. And yeah, but the last time it happens, I might have to get back to you on that one.
I thought you knew everything in FF1M.
It's my immediate database.
Yeah. I thought your brain was like the encyclopedia of FF1M.
Maybe AJ could put a little caption below. And first one that springs to mind, I think, is Cristiano de Mata back in 2002. And then
I'm kind of...
Oh, Schumacher, actually, in 2006, when Guy dropped him before the season ended, and then I took him on for the final 4 races.
Yes, that was a memorable move I remember you making. Because didn't you start that season off with was it Vitaly Petrov or someone like that? It
was Kovalainen that I started off with, then I dropped him for Petrov because I felt like giving Petrov a go.
Yeah, that's it.
And then Schumacher unexpectedly became a free agent.
Yeah, well, because Guy sacked him in his final season.
In favour of Lewis Hamilton.
Which we didn't really think was going to be his final season at the time, because obviously, in terms of real life, this was before his tragic accident with skiing. And we're seeing Alonso come back past Da Costa, who's had a miserable race, as Alonso, has to be said.
Yeah, both miserable, and as a result, they're actually behind. I've just spotted the two Willows, 9th and 12th at the moment, so that's a good effort from both of them.
Well, as Grosjean pits, they've. And I wonder if, depending on how effective the fresh tyres are and the heavier car, could Grosjean do something of an undercut here on Kymmenen?
Possibly.
Yeah. He's behind. Obviously, he's behind Bird. He was too far back to do it on Bird. But yeah, this is going to be really interesting. And this is Checo pitting here. I thought for a moment that was Kymmenen.
Perez pitting first.
I tell you what, because Perez is so far behind on the racetrack from Kymmenen, it would suck if Kymmenen was like following him in at that point and then got held up. That would be embarrassing.
Yeah, we have seen it before at Sepang where we've seen drivers queue up, but that was due to fuel reasons. But fuel consumption's been fine in this particular meeting. No risk of any drivers running out of fuel as Kevin Magnussen makes his final pit stop.
I am kind of in two minds here about Kymmenen being the last of the leaders to pit, because on the plus side it means he can go out longer on the lighter car. On the downside though, he may be susceptible to the undercut, and also he may not have enough time at the end to make the most of having the freshest tyres out of anyone.
I guess we'll find out once Kymmenen makes his pit stop, but you can see Bird ahead of Grosjean and ahead of Magnussen as well, and Bird actually opened up quite a distance between himself and Grosjean. The gap between those two is now over 10 seconds, as Kymmenen finally comes into the pits.
And something I'm going to point out here, and what help answer my question is, Bird has actually reduced the gap. It was 18 seconds at one point, now it says up there it's 16.7. So obviously the fresher tyres, despite having more fuel on board, is the quicker combination.
Yeah, the fresh tyres were massively powerful in the FF1M races that happened as well.
I just hope that Kymmenen hasn't stayed out so long that Grosjean's going to do the undercut on him.
Well, here comes Grosjean just crossing the line now, and where is Kymmenen?
There he is.
That Kymmenen? I think it is.
Yes, it's got to be. He was the only one in the pits at the time.
And there you go. So Kymmenen maintains second place just ahead of Romain Grosjean. Grosjean's outlap's not quite enough.
One more lap and he would have got past for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And now Kymmenen is going to set off after Sam Bird.
Now, obviously, right now, unlike all the others, as we see Checo making a move on Ricciardo for 6th, trying to salvage what he can from a very messy race on his behalf. One thing about this final stint over the other stints is that they're all going to be on pretty much the same amount of fuel. So varying fuel levels aren't going to be a thing in this stint, and it's going to be all about the tyres, which in Kymmenen's case is good because there's going to be contact there, not quite, but Ricciardo holds on somehow. It's all going to be about tyres, and that's good news for Kymmenen, but has he got the pace? Can he make the full use of the fresher tyres? That is the question.
Well, let's see when Bird starts his new lap, the gap between himself and Kymmenen, and it's 0.8 of a second that Kymmenen took out of Bird.
If he averaged 0.8 a lap for 10 laps, that would be 8 seconds, so that is going to be marginal.
That's touch and go.
Like we said, I tell you what, it's the classic phrase, isn't it? Catching is one thing, passing is something else. And as we've seen here, we've seen so many incidents with drivers trying to make overtakes, and this is not a done deal. And 4 seconds now, and it's lap 53. You know what? I think Bird's going to hold on here.
We think Bird may hold on unless something catastrophic happens to him in the final 3 laps.
We just skipped a few laps suddenly, and I don't think Kymmenen's got enough pace, I'm afraid.
And that was Lee making a move on Ricciardo, going into the final hairpin, moving up to 7th and trying to salvage whatever Mitchell could try and hold on to. And only 2/10 that lap for Kinnunen. I think Bird has got this one, unless something, as I say, catastrophic happens.
It's come down to 1.9 now, but I mean, unless the traffic plays a factor, I think Bird's got this, you know. And it's it's a shame really that on my behalf that there aren't more laps. But you know, what a race, what a performance from Bird. It has to be said, and.
Well, mind you, actually, hang on a second, because that was 1.3 seconds that Kinnunen took out of Bird on that lap, and Bird has got this traffic in front of him. It's going to be close. It's going to be very close between these two.
I think it's too little too late, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, unless like that Willow's got in the way through the middle section where there's a lot of medium speed to low speed corners. Yeah, I'm not convinced. What's the gap now? 1.3. Not enough.
Out of 6 he goes, and into the double right of 7 and 8, where we've seen a few spinners in this race, but no such problems for the Bird, as he still tries to catch up to the Willows, but I suspect on those older tyres he's starting to get closer now, is Kinnunen. Let's see what happens.
Kinnunen also has to get past the back marker should Bird get past them in the first start. It's not going to be enough. He's not going to be even close enough to be in the slipstream.
Now looking better and better for Bird now, and just further back, Grosjean holding on to third, 2.1 seconds ahead of Kevin Magnussen, and Rosberg in 5th, so it'll be a good points haul for Pedersen, and Perez 6th ahead of Lee and Ricciardo, but it's going to be a bit nip and tuck for Bird, but out of the final corner, and I cannot believe I'm going to be saying this, but Sam Bird somehow is going to win his first ever FF1M race. Absolutely unbelievable result, and crossing the line in second in his debut race is Väinö Kinnunen, and just in the background there you can see Grosjean ahead of Magnussen, 3rd and 4th.
Well, who would have predicted that result before the off? I mean, 2 stand-in drivers in the top 2, and Sam Bird, out of all people, winning his first race. I mean, that's crazy. And he doesn't have a drive for next season either, so it just makes it even more crazy, doesn't it? And it got under 8 tenths. Yeah, a few more laps, I think, you know, it would have got interesting. That is a shame, that, but it is what it is. Useful
constructors' points, though, for yourself.
At least it's good for the championship, but I just feel like it could have been a bit better, you know what I mean? But Hamilton retiring has made the championship a little bit more interesting, although his closest rivals of Magnussen and Perez not really making the most of it, in my opinion.
Absolutely, Magnussen's that error of Magnussen definitely costing him a chance at a victory, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. A very costly mistake, and one that was completely uncalled for.
Yeah, I mean, could have been soft tyres, could have been just pushing hard to try and win that race, but yeah, at least it closes the gap, and I think would move into, joint second in the championship. There it is, and I think Perez might be ahead on countback, but the gap between Hamilton, Perez and Magnussen, 19 points now.
19 points, yeah, and I still think Hamilton's got like one hand on the trophy. I actually think once Hamilton retired, I think he would have taken that result personally, for where Perez and Magnussen finished. The fact that neither even finished on the podium.
And ironically, that retirement of Hamilton has kept Gonzalez in the championship hunt.
Not too late, Whiteley.
It's not too late. Who was ill, actually? I didn't fully explain what had happened. He was struck with COVID and just needed to recover. So, yeah.
Good timing.
And Tornado extending their Constructors' Teams Championship lead to 17 points now over Mitchell, and FJR still looking very lonely in 3rd, and Pedersen jump up to 4th ahead of Exlite and Andrew. So, that was the first of the 4 final flyaways. We'll move over from Southeast Asia to Northeast Asia for the Japanese Grand Prix at the legendary Suzuka circuit. So, from the two of us, we shall see you for then.
Cheerio.